The Martian dust storm had finally cleared after 3 weeks of relentless chaos, revealing the excavation site that Dr. Elena Martinez and her team had discovered before being forced into the underground bunker. The red planet's twin moons cast an eerie glow over the desert landscape as Elena adjusted her environment suit's sensors, watching the alien delegation approach through the swirling crimson haze. Humans, the Centaurian ambassador's translator, crackled through the comm system. Your persistence in claiming archaeological significance here is beginning to try our patience. Ambassador Anxvol's crystalline form refracted the moonlight, creating dancing patterns on the rocky surface. Elena stood her ground, despite the growing tension. After 15 years as Earth's leading xenorchaeologist, she had learned to handle the condescension of older galactic species. With all due respect, Ambassador, what we found here changes everything we thought we knew about Mars' history. The delegation of 5 different alien species shifted uncomfortably in their environmental suits, each adapted to their unique physiologies. The Proximan representative, a being of pure energy contained within a sophisticated containment field, pulsed with what Elena had learned to recognize as skepticism. Dr. Martinez, it communicated through its translator. Your species has barely mastered interplanetary travel. What could you possibly understand about artifacts that predate our oldest civilizations? Instead of arguing, Elena gestured toward the massive doorway her team had uncovered. The structure was unlike anything ever found on Mars, or anywhere else in the known galaxy. Its surface seemed to shift and change, responding to the presence of the observers in ways that defied known physics. The door responds to human brainwaves, she explained, activating her helmet's holographic display. Watch. As she approached, the symbols etched into the ancient metal began to pulse with a soft blue light, forming patterns that seemed almost familiar, like half-remembered dreams. The Arcturian scientist, Dr. Zix, moved forward on its anti-gravity platform, multiple sensory appendages extending to analyze the phenomenon. Impossible, it declared, its translator struggling to convey the mix of emotions in its harmonic language. These energy signatures suggest technological advancement beyond even our current capabilities. Elena's second-in-command, Dr. Marcus Wong, joined them at the doorway, his own suit's sensors recording everything. That's not even the most interesting part, he said, pulling up additional data on his holographic display. The carbon dating and geological analysis suggests these ruins are at least 5 million years old. The alien delegation erupted in a cacophony of translated protests and demands for verification. Elena let them argue, her attention drawn to the doorway, as new patterns emerged in response to their heightened emotions. She had kept the most significant discovery to herself, the fact that the symbols seemed hauntingly similar to fragments of human DNA sequences. There's more, Elena announced, silencing the debate. We've managed to partially decode some of the symbols. They're not just responding to our presence, they're trying to communicate something specific to humans. The Centaurian ambassador's crystalline form darkened ominously. That would be a violation of Galactic Protocol 7249. Any discovery suggesting advanced technological heritage must be reported to the Council for proper investigation. We did report it, Marcus interjected. 3 months ago, your scientists dismissed our findings without even examining them. Elena stepped closer to the door, watching as the patterns shifted more rapidly in response to her proximity. I don't think we can dismiss this anymore, Ambassador, because according to our preliminary translations, this facility wasn't built by aliens at all. She paused, letting the implications sink in. It was built by humans, or rather, by what humans used to be. The revelation sent shockwaves through the alien delegation. The Proximan's energy form fluctuated wildly, while the Arcturian's sensory appendages retracted in what might have been fear. The Centaurian ambassador's crystalline structure emitted a high-pitched frequency that made Elena's suit sensors screech in protest. That's impossible, Dr. Zix declared. Human civilization is barely 10,000 years old. You evolved from primitive primates. We have the genetic evidence. Do we? Elena challenged. Or do we have evidence of what someone wanted us to become? She placed her hand on the ancient door's surface, and the symbols exploded into brilliant patterns of light, forming a message that would change humanity's understanding of its place in the universe forever. The door began to open, revealing a chamber that had remained sealed for millions of years. As the alien delegation watched in stunned silence, Elena took humanity's first step into a past that no one had known existed, a past that would force every species in the galaxy to reevaluate everything they thought they knew about the origins of intelligence in the universe. The chamber beyond the ancient doorway defied every known law of physics. Despite being sealed for millions of years, the air inside was perfectly preserved, and lights activated automatically as Elena and her team entered, leaving the alien delegation hovering anxiously at the threshold. "This is unprecedented," Marcus whispered, his handheld scanner working overtime to process the readings. "The energy signature, it's like nothing we've ever seen. It's not just powering the lights, it's maintaining the entire environment." The walls of the circular chamber were lined with what appeared to be liquid crystal displays, each showing different sequences of shifting symbols. But what caught Elena's attention was the central pedestal, where a hovering sphere of pure energy pulsed with a rhythmic pattern that seemed oddly familiar. Dr. Martinez, the Proximan observer, called from the doorway, its energy form flickering with agitation. "Our sensors indicate technology that exceeds Class 12 restrictions. We must shut this down immediately." Elena ignored the warning, her attention fixed on the sphere. The patterns it emitted matched something she'd seen before, the electrical activity of the human brain during deep meditation. Before anyone could stop her, she stepped forward and placed her hand on the pedestal. The sphere responded instantly, expanding to fill the chamber with a web of light that connected to each of the crystal displays. Images began forming in the air around them, not holograms, but something more fundamental, as if reality itself was being rewritten. "By the eternal void," Dr. Zix exclaimed, its sensory appendages trembling. "The quantum patterns, they're rewriting themselves to match human neural architecture." Marcus rushed to Elena's side with his translation matrix, but she shook her head. "We don't need it. Look at the symbols. They're changing into something we can read." The alien delegation watched in horror as ancient glyphs transformed into modern human languages, words appearing in English, Mandarin, Arabic, and dozens of other Earth tongues simultaneously. The message was clear. "To our children, who will awaken when they are ready." "This is impossible," the Centaurian ambassador declared, its crystalline form vibrating with distress. "Your species cannot be the inheritors." The genetic evidence was incomplete. Elena finished, her eyes scanning the flowing text. "Because someone wanted it that way. According to this, humanity wasn't born on Earth. We were hidden there." The chamber's displays began showing images of an ancient civilization, one that had mastered technologies that made even the most advanced current galactic achievements seem primitive in comparison. But they weren't aliens. The beings in the recordings looked human, albeit with subtle differences that spoke of millions of years of evolution. "They called themselves the Precursors," Elena translated, her voice filled with wonder. "They weren't just advanced. They had unlocked the fundamental code of consciousness itself. They could manipulate reality through thought alone." Marcus's scanner beeped urgently. "Elena, you need to see this. The sphere. It's not just showing us information, it's changing us. Our neural patterns are being optimized." The alien delegation erupted in panic. The Arcturian scientists began transmitting emergency signals to the Galactic Council, while the Proximan's energy form became so unstable it nearly breached its containment field. "This facility must be quarantined," the Centaurian ambassador demanded. These revelations could destabilize the entire galactic order. But it was too late. The sphere's energy had already interfaced with Elena and Marcus's neural patterns, and through them, it was connecting to every human consciousness on Mars and beyond. In orbital habitats and research stations across the solar system, humans were beginning to experience strange dreams and sudden insights. They didn't just leave us a message, Elena realized, watching as new neural pathways formed in her mind's eye. They left us an inheritance, the ability to manipulate quantum reality directly. It's coded into our DNA. It was just locked away, waiting for us to find this key. The Proximan Observer's translator crackled with urgent frequencies. The Council must be informed. This changes everything we thought we knew about consciousness and evolution. No, Elena said, her voice carrying a new authority as ancient knowledge began integrating with her consciousness. This doesn't change what you know. It changes what we know about ourselves. She turned to face the alien delegation, and for a moment, they saw something ancient and powerful in her eyes, a glimpse of what humanity had once been, and what it was about to become again. The question isn't whether you'll inform the Council, she said, watching as more humans arrived at the chamber's entrance, drawn by an instinct they didn't yet understand. The question is whether the galaxy is ready for humanity to remember what it really is. Behind her, the sphere pulsed with increasing intensity, its light reaching out through space and time, awakening dormant genes and neural pathways in every human it touched. The great forgetting was coming to an end, and with it, the galaxy's careful balance of power was about to undergo a transformation that no one could have predicted. The news spread across the solar system like a quantum shockwave. Within hours of the activation in the Martian chamber, every human within range of the sphere's influence began experiencing dramatic changes. Elena watched from the Mars Research Command Center as reports flooded in from Earth, lunar colonies, and deep space stations. Another incident in the Europa Research Station. Marcus reported, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. Dr. Yuki Tanaka was conducting routine ice core analysis when she reportedly manipulated the molecular structure of water through thought alone. The station's alien scientific advisors are unsettled. Elena nodded, feeling the new awareness humming through her consciousness. The inherited memories from the precursors were still integrating, revealing capabilities that humans had possessed all along but had been locked away in their genetic code. The Galactic Council has called an emergency session, announced Director James Harrison, entering the command center. His typically stern features were softened by a look of wonder. He too had been touched by the awakening. They're demanding we shut down the Mars facility immediately. That's not going to happen, Elena stated, her voice carrying an authority that seemed to resonate on multiple levels of reality. The process can't be stopped now. It's like humanity was a computer running on basic software, and we just received the full operating system upgrade we were always meant to have. The chamber's displays suddenly flickered to life, showing urgent communications from Earth. Videos and data streams revealed similar structures activating across the planet. Ancient installations hidden beneath the ice of Antarctica, deep in the Amazon rainforest, and under the Pacific Ocean. They planned this, Marcus realized, studying the patterns. The Mars facility wasn't just a library or a message. It was a trigger. Once we reached it, it would activate all the others. The alien delegation had retreated to their ship in orbit, but their sensors remained fixed on the unfolding situation. Dr. Zix's voice came through the communication system, its usual harmonics distorted by what might have been fear. You don't understand what you're dealing with. The ability to manipulate quantum reality directly. It's too much power for any species to handle safely. Elena was about to respond when a new sensation washed over her. Across the solar system, millions of awakening humans were beginning to connect on a level beyond physical reality. It wasn't telepathy. It was something far more fundamental, as if humanity was remembering that it had always been part of a larger consciousness. We're receiving reports from the lunar colonies, Director Harrison announced, his voice tight with emotion. They're saying people are beginning to manipulate gravity. A child in Armstrong City just started floating during a classroom lesson and apparently knew exactly what she was doing. The Centaurian ambassador's voice cut through their communications. This ends now. The Council has authorized emergency containment procedures. For the safety of all species, humanity must be. The transmission cut off abruptly as every piece of alien technology in the solar system suddenly went dark. In the command center, only human-made systems remained operational. That wasn't us, Marcus said, checking the readings. At least, not consciously. It's like our awakening consciousness automatically perceived their technology as a threat and simply turned it off. Elena walked to the center of the room, where a holographic representation of the solar system showed the spreading wave of awakening. The precursors didn't just give us back our abilities, she said softly. They gave us back our purpose. Look at this. She gestured, and new information appeared in the hologram, plans and protocols left behind by their ancestors. The precursors hadn't just been a powerful civilization. They had been guardians of consciousness itself, shepherding the evolution of awareness throughout the galaxy. They didn't die out, Elena explained, the inherited memories becoming clearer. They chose to divide their consciousness, seeding it throughout the galaxy in various forms. We're just the first to remember who and what we really are. A sudden alarm blared through the command center. Multiple ships were appearing at the edge of the solar system. A Galactic Council containment fleet, armed with weapons designed to suppress rebellious civilizations. Director Harrison's face paled. They're going to try to stop this by force. We don't have the military capability to. We don't need it, Elena interrupted, feeling the collective awareness of awakened humanity flowing through her. We never did. The precursors didn't leave us weapons or ships. They left us something far more powerful, the truth about the fundamental nature of reality itself. As the Council fleet approached, Elena and the other awakened humans felt their inherited knowledge snap into focus. They weren't just remembering humanity's past, they were remembering how to reshape its future. The battle for humanity's awakening was about to begin, but it wouldn't be fought with weapons. It would be fought with the very fabric of reality itself, and the outcome would determine not just humanity's fate, but the evolution of consciousness throughout the entire galaxy. The Galactic Council fleet hung in space, like a constellation of artificial stars, their weapons primed and targeting systems locked on every major human settlement in the solar system. On the Mars Command Center's main display, Elena watched as more ships continued to emerge from hyperspace, their designs representing dozens of different alien civilizations united in their fear of humanity's awakening. Final ultimatum from the Council, Director Harrison announced, his voice steady despite the tension. They're demanding we submit to immediate neural suppression or face species-wide containment measures. Marcus let out a bitter laugh as he monitored the expanding human consciousness network. They still think this is about technology or weapons. They don't understand what's really happening. Elena nodded, feeling the collective awareness of humanity flowing through her like a vast ocean of consciousness. Across Earth and its colonies, millions of humans were discovering abilities that defied conventional physics. Children were instinctively manipulating quantum fields. Elderly people were accessing memories from centuries before their birth, and scientists were comprehending universal truths that had eluded their species for millennia. They're launching their first wave, Marcus reported, as hundreds of smaller ships detached from the main fleet. Containment pods designed to generate consciousness-suppressing fields. They'll try to lock down our largest population centers first. Elena closed her eyes, connecting with the deeper awareness that the precursors had awakened within humanity. Show me what they can't see, she whispered, and reality seemed to shift around her. Suddenly, she could perceive the true nature of the confrontation. The Council's ships weren't just physical vessels. They were manifestations of fear, constructs built by species who had chosen a different path of evolution. While humanity had been seeded with the potential for direct consciousness reality manipulation, other species had opted for technological advancement and physical modification. Look beyond the ships, Elena instructed her team, sharing her enhanced perception. See what our ancestors saw. The command center staff gasped as their awareness expanded. The approaching fleet was surrounded by swirling patterns of possibility, quantum potential that could be reshaped by awakened consciousness. More importantly, they could see faint glimmers of familiar energy within some of the alien ships themselves. There are others like us out there, Marcus realized. Other seeded species, still sleeping, still unaware of their potential. The Council, they'd been suppressing more than just humanity. The first wave of containment pods entered Earth's atmosphere, their suppression fields activating. But instead of the expected neural shutdown, something extraordinary happened. The fields encountered the awakened human consciousness and were transformed, their energy absorbed and redirected into the growing network of human awareness. That's impossible. The Arcturian scientists' transmission cut through their communications. The suppression fields are based on fundamental universal constants. They cannot be resisted. Elena stepped forward, allowing her consciousness to extend through the quantum field, touching the minds of the alien fleet's crews. "You're right," she responded, her voice reaching them on multiple levels of reality. "They can't be resisted, but they can be transformed, just as consciousness itself can be transformed. That's what you've never understood." Through their expanded awareness, the humans could see the truth that had been hidden for millions of years. The galaxy wasn't just a collection of competing species, it was a vast experiment in consciousness evolution. Some species had been seeded with direct consciousness reality manipulation potential, while others had developed along technological paths. Both approaches were valid, both part of a greater design. "We're receiving new signals," Marcus announced suddenly. "From within the Council fleet, Elena, some of their crew members are awakening. The human consciousness network, it's triggering something in other seeded species." The Council fleet erupted in chaos as crew members across multiple ships began experiencing their own awakening. The carefully maintained hierarchy of galactic civilization began to crack as long-dormant abilities surfaced among species that had been kept unaware of their true potential. This was never about humanity alone, Elena realized, accessing deeper levels of inherited memory. The precursors, they didn't just seed Earth. They seeded consciousness potential throughout the galaxy. We were just the first to remember, the first to awaken. And now, the Council's fleet is breaking formation, Director Harrison reported, watching as ships began moving erratically, their crews divided between the awakening and those desperately trying to maintain control. Their containment strategy is falling apart. Elena extended her awareness further, touching the minds of both the awakened and the fearful. "We don't have to fight," she broadcasted, her consciousness carrying understanding and compassion. "This isn't about conquest or dominance. It's about remembering who we all really are." As her words resonated through the quantum field, more minds began to open, more consciousness began to awaken. The great forgetting was ending not just for humanity, but for all the seeded species who had been kept unaware of their true nature. The battle for humanity's awakening was transforming into something far more profound, the beginning of a galactic remembering that would reshape the very foundations of civilization itself. 3 months after the failed containment attempt, the Martian chamber had become the heart of a new galactic renaissance. Elena stood before representatives of over 1,000 species, both awakened and unawakened, her consciousness seamlessly translating her words into understanding that transcended language. "The precursors didn't create a hierarchy," she explained, as holographic displays showed the intricate web of consciousness spreading throughout the galaxy. "They created a symphony where each species plays its own unique part in the evolution of awareness itself." The chamber, once mysterious and alien, now pulsed with the combined consciousness of dozens of awakened species. The Proximan delegates, their energy forms now unfettered by containment fields, danced in patterns that manipulated quantum reality itself. Former council races sat alongside newly awakened species, their old prejudices dissolved by the profound understanding that came with remembering their true nature. Marcus approached the central platform, his consciousness now able to process millions of data points simultaneously. "We've confirmed active awakening sites in 27 different star systems," he reported. "The pattern is consistent. Each seeded species is remembering in their own way, at their own pace." The former Centaurian ambassador, whose crystalline form now resonated with newfound awareness, addressed the gathering. "We were wrong to fear this change. What we thought would bring chaos has instead brought harmony we never imagined possible." Elena nodded, feeling the truth of those words ripple through the quantum field that connected them all. The awakening hadn't led to the conflict and power struggles the Council had feared. Instead, it had revealed a deeper purpose encoded into the very fabric of conscious existence. The precursors understood something fundamental about consciousness, she explained, drawing on the fully integrated memories that now flowed freely through her mind. "It's not just about power or knowledge. It's about connection, about the way awareness itself seeks to know and experience itself through countless different forms." Dr. Six, who had once feared humanity's potential, now floated nearby, its multiple appendages weaving complex patterns in the quantum field. "The technological path we chose wasn't wrong," it observed. "It was just one movement in a larger composition. The ability to manipulate reality through consciousness and the ability to understand it through technology. They're complementary approaches, not competing ones." As if in response to these words, the sphere at the center of the chamber pulsed with new energy, projecting images of countless civilizations throughout time and space. Each had their own path, their own way of exploring and expressing consciousness, all part of the precursor's grand design. "But why divide themselves?" asked a newly awakened species representative, their thought forms shimmering with curiosity. "Why not maintain their unified consciousness?" Elena smiled, the answer resonating through her being. "Because unity without diversity is stagnation. They didn't want to be gods ruling over creation. They wanted to experience the joy and wonder of discovering existence through countless different perspectives. We are all those perspectives, all those possibilities made real." The chamber filled with a profound sense of understanding, as this truth settled into the collective awareness. The awakening hadn't just restored lost abilities, it had revealed the underlying purpose of conscious existence itself. Director Harrison, who had watched his species transform from a relatively primitive civilization to a keystone of galactic consciousness in just 3 months, stepped forward. "So what happens now? Where does this evolution lead?" Elena turned to face the assembled representatives, feeling the quantum field ripple with possibilities. "Now we do what the precursors intended all along. We explore, we create, we discover. But we do it together, each in our own way, each contributing our unique perspective to the greater whole." The sphere pulsed one final time, its light spreading throughout the chamber and beyond, carrying with it the full activation of the precursor's legacy. Throughout the galaxy, more sleeping species would begin to stir, more consciousness would awaken to its true potential, and more understanding would emerge. "The age of separation is over," Elena announced, her words echoing through both physical space and the quantum field of consciousness. "Not because we've all become the same, but because we finally understand why we're different. We are the precursor's greatest work of art, a galaxy of diverse consciousness, each note essential to the cosmic symphony." As she spoke these words, the assembled representatives felt a new phase of evolution begin. The awakening had only been the beginning. The true journey, the exploration of consciousness itself through countless different forms and perspectives, was just getting started. And somewhere, in the quantum field that connected all consciousness, the fragmented awareness that had once been the precursor smiled, knowing that their children had finally come home to themselves, ready at last to continue the eternal dance of discovery and creation that was their birthright and their destiny.